Okay, here I am, back again, doing one more video. A little bit of an update on what's happening with the website. So today, I had a great opportunity to, because I had the day off work, so I had a great opportunity to actually complete a story I had started about a week ago, actually. Didn't take me very long on this one. And it's an interesting story. I tried not to get too technical on it because I can do that. Sometimes I can get sort of really technical. And in doing so, I knocked off a story, got it to post production, and I've gotten it downloaded where it needs to be sort of reconfigured or reconfigured or whatever. And then it can be put onto the website. So it'll be on the website tomorrow, which is fantastic because today I was having a discussion with my son and we were just chatting as we do. And I came up with another story, and I thought, wow, that was cool because I knock off a story, and then I get an opportunity to create another story. So I did sort of a brainstorming, which I do with my stories, get sort of a sense of how the story should look, what the content of the story is. I don't bleed into all sorts, like I don't want these to be long stories. I just want them to be short, easy read stories that are lend themselves to be audiobooks that you don't have to put down and then pick up again in a few days and kind of lose the feel of the story. I want it to be an all-in-one sort of thing. And so I create these short stories. I figure the audiobooks are about half an hour, I think. So of all the stories I've created that are in final mode, that are cleaned up and downloaded onto the website and available to purchase, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5. And the one I started, because after I finished writing the one I just loaded onto the website, I began another one, and I've got about 4 more that I've done the brainstorming for. And I want to keep saying barnstorming. I don't know why. Anyways, brainstorming for and getting the storyline down to the point where I can just rewrite it. And just like the rest of the content that I put into the website today, early this morning, because it's been a long, long day. When I'm not at work, I'm actually focusing mainly on the website. So I get hours and hours of time to focus on a website, because the website and the content creation is a full-time job as opposed to the full-time job I have on the side. It's my side job. This is my real job. That's the way I'd like to sort of look at it. So if I can retire when I'm planning on retiring within the next couple of years, then this will be my full-time job. And it's already turning into sort of having 2 full-time jobs at this point, which is perfectly fine. I've got a lot of stuff on the go, a lot of things that are being created and mounted. I actually put some pictures on the website, and because it's a new website host, and I have a friend who is helping me to format the contents on that website, because it is a more hands-on website. It helps if you know code, because you can go code free and use it in that format, or you can write code and generate. I put some Scratch and some pictures onto the website that I created, and just did a down and dirty download real fast. And there's the expectation that we're going to, on our drawing tablets, put the content back onto the website correctly, because when I downloaded a couple of the pictures, they came up rotated at a 45, so, or sorry, a 90. So they're like sideways, and you can't see them. So it was kind of funny. I've got 3, I think it was 3 pictures came up sideways. So you have to sort of look side. Anyways, those pictures probably aren't going to stay on the website anyways, because I was just using them as content fillers. So I put on geez, must have been about 20 short little blurbs that I've written over the years. And I threw those onto the website in order to give you a sense of the type of writing that I do, just a broadened sense. And I wrote my first blog on the site, which once again, I'm not actually sure if I did it right, because it gave me the option to reply to my own blog, which was funny. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. When I run into it as a live, because you can always preview your websites, because it hasn't gone live yet, I'm actually trying to decide on whether or not to change the name of the website to go back to one of the original website names I had, which was Star Dog Champion, which is one of my favorite songs ever. And I had the opportunity to get a derivative of that name, which would make me go back to, what I originally wanted the website to be. But the original name of the website I wanted to create years and years ago was immediately taken and has been owned continually the whole time. And I'm waiting for it to pop up, but it's not. But this one is a secondary version of almost the exact same thing. Sorry, my camera's trying to leave the room. No, strange. So all of the content that I did put into the website today, all of the short blurbs, and I guess they're sort of poetry in a sense, but it's sort of like visions that I've had, and I use my view on life as a sort of point of reference, but I also use dreams. And two of the dreams that I have, one I had lately, which is a recurring dream, and I know you all have had recurring dreams, and you can imagine, or you know how frustrating they can be, because it's like the dream is never exactly the same every time, but it's almost identical. And I look at it as though I try to imagine, and I try to go and reference what differences there are in the dreams from the last time I had that exact dream. I believe that, in a sense, and it's just the way I view life, that, and I have this line, anyways, so that perhaps I know that the dreams are your subconscious sort of telling you something. Maybe you've envisioned something, you sense something, you feel something, you are taking outside information that was subconscious information or peripheral view information, and it's letting you know that it saw it, it recognized it, it filed it away somewhere in that huge computer that we have in our skulls, and this is what it's sort of telling me. But it can only do it as image, right? So the content is sort of like, it's not DOS, it's sort of a Windows flap over, and it's saying, well, this is what it is and this is what it is. But if you want to get down to what it really, really means, you have to dig deep and try to quantify what it is. And anyway, so I never get that deep into the dreams. I just look at them, I say, oh, that was extremely disturbing, so I write something about it, and that's how I get a lot of my content. So the content that I did put in today, the 20 some odd blurbs, stories, thoughts, ideas, whatever, are accompanied by some scratch that I've done over time. But since I couldn't locate a lot of the scratch that I've done on my computer, and it's buried somewhere in my tablet, or one of my two tablets, or my cell phone, or an old cell phone, I'm not sure yet because I'm having trouble finding them. Once I finally locate them all, then I can put in the originals. I do have to redraw them on my tablet because I have a drawing tablet. I had to buy a Huawei. And then the content will clean up really, really quickly. But as I was saying, I've tried to decide whether or not I want to go with the website name that I have now, which is Red Eyes Radical, or Red Eyed Radical. Has nothing to do with blue hair, and I had red hair a little while ago. So it generally means that I don't sleep, and I have a lot of thoughts roaming around my head. It's very cluttered up there. So I could also use a proto name I had, like I say, years ago. And I was hoping to use that. And the fact that one of the names has come up available was a little surprising. But this is, I think what it is it gives me the opportunity to do two other projects that I wanted to do. I have two things that I've invented over time, and I have the blueprints and everything ready to go on both of them. So I think that's what this is telling me. It's saying that outside of this website that I've created, that is just a format for all of my creations and my ideas, and somewhere to display them, sort of like having an art gallery. And of course, you can see some of the content, but some of the content is strictly sold. It's like $10 for a download of a short story or an audiobook. I have children's flip books, and I have the other content of the things that I've created. Now I have the option of taking this other website, which is already populated, it's already created. The website itself exists, and it has a host, web host, so it's got a name and everything attached to it. I could keep that the way it stands, or I could have it transferred on the 29th, like I was saying in my last, or what I said here in my last video, or whatever. Now, I did do a video, another truck talk, because I was in my truck waiting to go to work the other day. I did a truck talk. I did another 32-minute video, and I noticed I was actually running late, so I hit stop, and I erased the video. So that's it's a crying shame, but it is what it is. Whatever. So whatever I was talking about that day, I think I got into, once again, discussing cryptocurrencies, which I have a tendency to talk about, and other financial news, because that is something that's really, it's in everybody's mind right now. So I have a tendency to just sort of babble on about all sorts of things that have a very loose tie to everything else. So within that sort of structure, I try to stay focused to the things that I want to talk about. These early videos that I'm doing now are just introductions to myself and introductions to what it is that I do. And I want them to basically just update everybody that the website's going to go live, ready or not, here I come, on the 29th. And it's going to have the ability to, well, it's going to contain most of the content I've created in written and audio form, including the children's flip books. But I now have a second site, which, like I say, I was going to transfer the name on the 29th to this other site. I may keep both sites, the first site being the two inventions that I've created. And in doing that, I can sell those products outside of that website, have this other website for all of my content and my writing and my audiobooks, and any, because I've written some songs too with a pianist a while ago, and I'd like to actually just kind of use those as backdrop format, that sort of stuff. It's kind of interesting, but I wrote another one lately for a special friend of mine. Anyway, so I could use that also, the other format website for these two inventions. I could use those for the guidebooks that I've created, and I have the rough drafts of those. Well, they're almost both completed in rough draft, and it takes a while to go from rough draft to straight draft of the guidebooks, you know, how to roof and do roof repairs and how to do flooring. A friend of mine was asking me at work the other day, he said, you know, what makes your product any different than anything else I've seen on the shelf? And I said, for one, there's nothing like it on the shelves. If you go to a bookstore, you go to a roofing supply store, you go to a hardware store, you will not see a guide, a pocket guidebook that explains how to do flooring. Like, you could just put it in your back pocket, references that as you're going. You know, if you're in the middle of doing this, you flip to that section that says, okay, well, now what do I do when I hit a doorway? And it explains exactly laminate, vinyl, loose laid carpet. This is exactly what you do when you come to a doorway, and it gives you explanations and drawings. So how many pocketbooks have you ever seen on the market that do that? None. They're not out there. I've looked for them extensively. Just as these other two inventions I've looked online for 10 years now, and I haven't found anything that does what these two inventions do. So my only holdback on getting that created is mocking up a template, a actual example of what it is, so that I can use that as a advertising promotion to say, this is what I've created, this is what I have available, these are the options, these are the benefits of all the features that they contain, this is the price, and I have a manufacturer who will create this stuff order by order by order. And I think they'll both probably take off fairly well, one better than the other, I believe, but I'm willing to invest my own money into doing it, so there's no loss on the front end. There's just I believe in myself enough that I think that these things will take off and at least pay for themselves back in the back end. And when I do have these conversations about the financial situation around the world right now, I mean, every time I come into these conversations and I talk about cryptocurrencies and I talk about gold and silver and bonds now and investing in the stock market, and I try to understand what it is that's going on, there's so many diverging conversations and people out there that have divergent or conflicting sort of ideas on what's happening and when it's going to happen and how fast and what the steps are and what the signs are that show us give us sort of some sort of indication as to what we're heading for. The difference being that every country is going to be affected differently. So if we're looking at where most of the information is coming from, depends. I don't have cable, so I don't know what the news is locally for where I am. But there's a lot of information coming out of the States that they're anticipating 3 scenarios that are going to come in succession, and I understand it. I can see the graphs, and I understand the way it plays out, and it makes complete sense. So when I say, and I'm not in the States, I'm in Canada, so I have my country is going, it's a mess. It's no better. It is a complete mess here, but we're making the same mistakes. The difference is where we start from. So all I can say about it is diversify. That just means put money here, put money here, put money here, and put money here. Invest in tangible things like real estate and gold and silver, cryptocurrencies, stocks, bonds. Just make sure you have money safely in these investments, because no matter what happens, you have some sort of, you're not going to lose everything. So if that means putting $10 in this and $10 in that and $10 in this and $10 in that in every paycheck, then do it. If you have the ability to put more in, then do it. But don't leave your money earning 1.2% interest in a savings account, because it's inflation is eating that away. So that's just something that it's a no-win. Anyways, back to my website, which was the whole point of this video in the first place. I didn't want to get into, once again, talking about finances, that I'm not a financial advisor. I am just some guy who made a couple of really good decisions. Well, I met some really good people who helped me make some really good decisions through my life, and I was lucky enough to deserve their friendship, and this is where I am. So now I would just want to go back. I want to cycle back here and get on to the idea of the website. There is other content that I have created. There are things that I would like to diverge into, say, video format. So I would like to make that happen. I have the tools at hand. I have the ideals, and I have the ideas, and I have the hardware and the software in order to make these things a reality. If I do make these videos, if I do make these like 10-minute short videos, they're just like the one I'm doing here right now, and I'm still making the videos on my tablet. I have 2 cameras and a microphone, and I don't have that little P thing, and it's not a P thing, it's an S thing, or I don't know what it is. It's basically a piece of fabric over a circle, and it's just supposed to stop me from sounding like I'm trying to swallow a mouse, like I'm a snake. Anyways, the point is, I do go off on tangents. The point is, those videos I would love to create because they tell a short story that can only be really appreciated visually. So let's say I write the story, which are completely aside from the books that I've written, the novellas that I've written, and all the other stuff. There are these short little 1 to 2 page stories, concept ideas. They're hard to explain because they're sort of a soapbox stance on something that I believe, or something that has gone through my head, and those things will not leave until I deal with them. Which is why I call myself Red Eye Radical, because sometimes it causes me to not get any sleep for a long time, and I get worn out. But these ideas are just, the wolves at the mouth of the rabbit hole. They're just waiting until I find a way out, and I deal with it. So I do. These things can be created as videos. Just like you would create a music video, and you would direct it, you would have it staged as a video, or as a vlog or whatever. Then, do they still use that word, vlog? Probably not. Anyways, it's like, imagine TikTok for like 10 minutes. But there's more to say. There's a story. There's a image. That's what it is. Okay. So these things create an image. Like, let's say I can say one of them, called The Shepherd, is an image of it is a psychological first-person image of a televangelist, but they're not a televangelist really. It's it's sort of like that. Well, yes, I've got the short story. I've got the 2-page and a bit write-up of it, and it explains it slightly cryptically, but that's the way I write. It explains it in that format. But to better get a sense of what this, because I want you to feel what it is to be, in this realm, in this mind, then it's better if it's created as a visual. So there is a sense of ambiance and structure to this, that when put into seeing it as a video, like a music video, draws you into the story. It would be best served, the 3 that I have would be best served as a short 2-minute video or whatever, that drive you into where this car crash is going. And you can experience it from, hands-on, right from the beginning, from when, the car runs over the rows, and it's just a visual thing, right? So there's a lot of moving parts to this. They're not hard to create. I'm sure it'd be quite easy to create, actually. Going back and doing the editing might be a little bit tricky, because, like I say, there's a lot to learn here, but I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to try, because I want you to be entertained with the visions that I see in my head, because they certainly entertain me. Anyway, so going back to what I was saying about having the website up and running, the one that I am promoting at the moment is specifically for the audio visual creations that I have been striving over and that have been taking over me for years. I need to have those things out and completed and available. And they're like any person that, and I've got to be honest here, I'm not seeking fame and fortune. What I'm seeking is to be heard, just like everybody wants to be heard. I think it will be entertaining. I think you'll enjoy it. Some will, some won't. Some are going to hate it and go, I can't believe, you haven't been run over yet. I have been. But the other side, or, I can't believe you haven't been shot or whatever. But the other part is people would go, wow, interesting vision, point of view. Like the one I just finished today, I think is interesting, which led me to another story that I was just starting, and now I'm going to have to actually try to do a bit more brainstorming on it until I can visualize it again, get back into that mode, and then write it tomorrow. And I'll probably end up writing that one tomorrow. The one that my son and I sort of discussed today was really bizarre too, because it has the chance to become a very unique kind of take on I guess what can happen if you don't plan properly. Not in the financial way, but just in a different sense. And once again, that story will be available on my website. So I've added a whole bunch of free content to get a sense of who I am, a sense of my writing style, and what it is that I sort of visualize, what I see, what I'm offering. The other side of it is that the ones that are for sale, I'm not looking to make millions. I'm just looking to have that validity that what I do, in some sense, in this world has some sort of value beyond myself. If it has none, that's perfectly fine. I still have the blog. I have the website. I have the free content. I make the videos. I want to make these 3 story videos. I've written a couple of songs. All of this stuff is going to be out and formatted and ready to go. So I'm working on it, and the drop date is the 29th, so that is less than a week away. And the content is ready to go. It just has to be cleaned up a little bit, but it can drop today if I had to. I was waiting for the website, the domain name to drop from my old website to the new one. If it doesn't work, then I'm just taking the secondary one that I was talking about, that I was originally wanted years ago, and I'm just going to run with that, which means it'll take me an extra day. I'll drop it, but then expect to see the title of the website that change, and then all the sub pages are going to have to change because they're all written or formatted to be directive using the title of the name. And of course, my email address is going to be part of that, and any contact information, because what I've written for contact is going to be pretty bland. It says like First Igloo on the left in Canada, because a lot of people seem to think we live in igloos here. It's really strange. Anyways, I'm not sure why. It's actually beautiful in Victoria. It snows maybe once every 2 years. We almost never see snow here in Victoria. We create our own environment. I don't know what it is. The fact that we live on the tip of an island maybe, and we're surrounded by land. Anyways, it rains a bit, but we have nice kind of moderate temperature year round, and our summers are fairly nice. It's a beautiful city. It's an old city. It's the capital of BC before Vancouver was, and we have the oldest buildings in the province, and we have some seriously a couple 100-year-old buildings that are just awesome. Anyways, something you may have seen if you are into traveling and stuff like that, because we are a travel destination. Not like a lot of people are traveling right now, but there you would see things like the Parliament Buildings, the Bush Art Gardens. The Royal Museum is in Victoria, and it's a government town. So anyways, I'm going to end this video on that note, and thanks for joining, and we'll see you again.